Hi, I'm Karen Boyhen. Welcome to my presentation on illustrated maps. We're going to talk about why would you want to make an illustrated map? What's the purpose and the audience, elements, process, inspiration, and drawing a memory map. So one of the reasons to make illustrated maps is get rid of the distractions and prioritize what you want whoever's viewing the map to see. So this was created for a ski mountain and they're just focusing on the ski runs and it's really lovely. And they're getting straight to the point and they have this great legend here. And I think it's a big success. Next. This is a map I found for the Melbourne Zoo and I think it's beautiful. The way they treated the icons is gorgeous and they're so easy to read. And there's no doubt about it what everything is. And it's great for kids too. If they can't read yet, they'll be able to see what's what. And they color coded the main areas that they have. So yeah, if I went there, I'd want a map like this. It looks like it's super easy to follow. Here's something I designed for a couple. I worked on their wedding invitation, and so I picked up the color that I used on that. And they were afraid that people that were coming to the reception didn't know where it was, and it's a really busy area. So I think there's no doubt about it, how to get there. And here they are. Just added a fun element because I could. Okay. So another reason to make a map, it's an opportunity to get your branding across while you're communicating your message. So I worked on this map. I didn't design it, but I made edits to it. And I thought it was really great because here they're showing their colors that they have in their color palette for their brand. And which map would you rather follow? Do you know what I'm saying? It's so easy and clear. So some of the elements that you'll have to think about when you're creating an illustrated map is how to treat the title. Do you want to use typography from a computer? Or do you want to hand letter it? How are you going to handle the shape of the geographical area? How to incorporate names of cities, neighborhoods, how to treat the roads and highways, and all the landscape elements. Another big thing is what color palette to use and how to color code different elements that you have. So I found this old map of Florida and I thought it was so kind of kitschy and cool. And I love the way they treated the heading. It's clearly for tourists. I could see that from the airplane. They got the shape of the state, no problem, you know. It's like so clear to read, and they put all there's no streets or roads on here, but they put the attractions on here, and there's just so many cool elements that you can look at. The alligator and the oranges. I mean, it's all about Florida. So I think with any map that you're working on, there's so much room for creativity, besides working within the framework of what people expect to see on a map. And different ways that people use maps is, I believe this was for a placemat at a restaurant, I could be wrong, or postcard, a poster, you know, in a brochure. Just showing you these for, I think this color palette is really great. Just to show, I mean, these are older maps, but if you were to type in illustrated map, you'll get a lot of contemporary people working with maps, and they're really beautiful. So I'll talk a little bit about my process. So here I'm going to show you is kind of like a case study. I worked with a professor who does food mapping, and he works with local farms. So this was a farm, and one of the main things that I have to get right is the shape of the geographic area. So once I have that down, I feel more comfortable. Of course, it changed along the way, but this is just an example of how I illustrated the title. Here's a landmark. I thought this was kind of clever. The company that was in partnership with the farm, their name was Cardinal, and this is actually called a cardinal direction. And every map has this on it, and almost always it's north is pointing north, but there could be exceptions to the rule. You have the legend, and yeah, we'll continue. So to talk about icons, and this is one of my favorite parts. Okay, I met with a client, and he told me all the things, listed what had to be on the map, and in regards to icons. So then I just start drawing, and a lot of times I'll start from memory, and sometimes I'll look for reference when I'm drawing, and then I could be doing different versions of, so this was to represent a pond, so I did different versions of the frog, and here's like a bakery. So I was just kind of like, don't be afraid to keep drawing and drawing, and till you get something that you really like. So then after I do rough drawings, then I'll put them within a shape, and I'll add color. And something about an icon is it's got to read really fast and represent what's actually there, but also work really well when it's very small. So that's that. And here's a map that he did, that I worked with this person who did food mapping. So he would go around to different neighborhoods and see where all the edible food was on trees. So as you can see up here, it's a very dense area. And so what he would do is give me a Google Doc, and it had all the data points plotted on it. And then I would take that, and after I made my icons, I would replace this data points on my map with the icons. So a good way to work within a dense area is to use tessellation. So what that is when a shape tiles well. So here's a hexagon shape, and this works really great, and I really like to use this. So as you can see, I'm putting it together, there's no wasted space in between, which works really nice. So hexagon is a really good go-to for tessellation. Let's put this in a few more. So I'm going to move on to four-sided shapes work really great. So here's a diamond shape, and as you can see, they all touch beautifully like linoleum on a floor. And here's another four-sided shape that works really well. It just depends on what you're putting inside and how you want it to look. And an equilateral triangle works great. Some of them will have to be upside down, like the squirrel. It works well both ways, but as you can see, there's no space wasted. And then I'm going to show you something that doesn't work quite as well as when you use circles. And all these black areas are going to be a spot where you can't fit your icon in. So if there's a data point, you won't be able to show it unless you like cover up other icons. So I don't usually use circles unless there's not a lot of data points, and information could be spread out more. So here's a map I designed for Aiken High School in Cincinnati, and I had a lot of fun with this. It's again, I got to go on site with that other farm. I got to go on site, so if you're working on a map locally and you have a chance to visit the area as opposed to just looking on the computer, you should take advantage of it, and you get to talk to the people that work there and kind of bend their ear to see what's important to them to show. It's informative, so I had fun with putting the students there because I wanted to make sure they were represented, and then I exaggerated some of the animals, and this turkey's walking on the natural resource trail. Yeah, okay. Another thing I want to talk to you about is making a memory map. Once you start like looking or researching into maps, there's so many different ones that people have made, it's overwhelming. But something that really caught my attention is drawing maps from memory. And it's a good way to really loosen up and get some it's cool drawings and something you could do on your own with that, you know, it's a nice start to get into an illustrated map. So I'm just gonna do a quick drawing to demonstrate. So I grew up close by to this lake called Pinewood Lake. So first of all, I'm gonna draw the outline of it as I remember it, and it might not be correct. And then I'm gonna do hand lettered, I love doing an L like that, like Laverne and Shirley. This Pinewood Lake. I'm gonna set up my legend over here. And so as I'm creating icons, I can add them to the legend. So it had many, many pine trees around it. So I'm adding those. So I'm gonna add that to the legend. I'm gonna call it Pine Forest. There's a beach down here with the swimming area. Well, this wasn't the beach, this was like the safe area to swim, and we had some rafts. And we had a beach. And then we had, I'm gonna draw the road. This is one of the roads. So I'm doing this in black and white, but if I like this drawing, maybe I'll use color. So it'll give me a chance to color code things. So I actually couldn't remember the name of the street. I had to look it up, but I could see it in my head. So here's a street, and then here's another road then over here called Pinewood Trail. So I would probably pick the same color for all the streets, and it just helps people to read it faster. And then you can add geographic, like landscape type of elements. So water, I'm gonna add some fish in here. So maybe I'll put fish. And then everybody knows what lives in the pine trees are these big bats. So I'm gonna exaggerate this because it's my map and I'm drawing it, so I can draw like giant bats. So yeah, and then over here is a different type of forest that doesn't have pine trees in it, and I'm putting like an oak, oh, I forget if it was elm tree or oak leaves, so regular forest. And then there's in the summer we have there's some sailboat races, so I'll put those in here. I can add that to the legend. So it's just kind of like just a quick memory of someplace I used to live, and you can do the same. And I hope to see you next weekend at Professor Wynn's workshop. And thank you very much for watching.